Hello everyone, welcome back to Limatech once again. In this video we are going to implement these features. One is how to get location of a real-time device, and second how we can design the data model so that we can store the app information, the user information into the Firebase database. Third, setting up the Firebase project and reading and writing the data into Firebase so we can show usage information of the mobile apps. And in that section, in the third section, we will also implement a search functionality where parent can enter a unique number which will be generated from the kids mobile when they do a sign in into the app. And in the third section, we will also implement the Google sign in feature where parent can sign into this app and enter a unique number of the children device so that they can see the usage time of the apps or the screen time, and also they can be able to see the last seen location of that particular device of the children's device. So let's see how we can implement these features one by one in this video. This video will be a longer video than the other part of this series. So this is the third video of our parental control app development series. If you haven't watched the other videos, then please watch those first and come back to this video later. I will be adding those video links in the description below. So let's start how we can get the location of a real-time device. If you are new to my YouTube channel and if the contents are helping you in any manner, then please consider subscribing to this channel, like the content, and also share it with your friends and colleagues so that they can also get benefit from this tutorial. And don't forget to press the bell icon so that you should not miss any of my latest videos that I am uploading on my channel. Let's see how we can get the device location. In order to get the device location, we will require few dependencies. Those are, one is location, one other is Flutter map, marker cluster, Flutter map, and latitude longitude 2 dependency. This location dependency will give us the latitude and longitude of the real-time device if the location feature is enabled on the mobile, and these two will be useful to depicting the area of the map where the device was last seen, and this will be used inside this map dependency. Let's see how we can do that. Copy this one, come to our pub.dev site and look for the dependency. This is the dependency that we are going to add into our pubspec.yml file. Here you just need to check which version you want to use. I am using 4.4.0 because it supports the minimum .stk version of 2.12. So you can just copy whatever versions you are having on your machine. So let me just copy this one and paste it in pubspec.yml file and change it to 4.4.0 and save it, and come back to this readme section of this document or this dependency. So we are going to add these two permissions to our Android manifest XML file, paste it and save it. Is there any other thing required to set up in Android? No. The next step will be to get the location and print it on our console. In order to get the location, there are two things we need. One is we need the service enabled feature, whether it is enabled or not. Similarly, we need another permission. We want the user to grant the permission in order to set their location. For that, we will call this method so that they can see a pop-up and they can click on the grant permission or allow permission on their app while installing. So let me copy this thing and come to the main.dat file and come to our main, this one, and paste it. Just import the files whatever required and add question mark so that it will be a null check. Save it, and let's come back to the documentation once again and copy the whole thing. Why I am copying, I will explain you after this one. I am going to create another method where I will paste those things which I copied from the documentation. The method name will be get location details, and it has to be an async method because we are going to call async functions. Here if you are calling using await, it means that this is the async function. It needs to be executed fast, then the rest of the course will be executed. So it has to be sequential wise. That's why we call with the help of await keyword. Now I added await keyword, and I need to call this one from our initState method before getting all the installed app. Now save it. If I go and install this app into my real device, it is going to ask me a permission, because here if you come down, this section will actually show a pop-up where the user can interact and allow the permission. Let me install that on my device. I have already connected to my mobile device, and I am going to run this and show how it looks like. Wait for a few minutes so that this app can be installed on my real device, and let's see how it is going to pop up to grant the user location permission. Now the app is installed on my device, and you can see it is asking to allow the permission. I am going with the first option, choosing while using the app. This is for the location access. You can see allow parental control app to access the device location. I am selecting while using the app, and the next will be, it will be installed and it will show you all the installed apps on this device. And you can see all the installed apps on my device or on my mobile. It's showing in our app. If I click on any app, it should show the screen time. See, it is not showing the screen time because the problem is that we have to allow the usage access to this app. If I come to the setting part, and if you can see, parental control app has to be enabled under the usage data access, because this is the setting that we need to enable in order to get all the installed apps on the real time device due to some security reasons. Now you can see I got all the apps again after restarting, and if I click on this WhatsApp, you can see 8 minutes 22 seconds. Similarly, if I go to YouTube, it might be 50 minutes 73 seconds. So similarly, whatever app I have already used, we can see the time or screen time. But our main features that we are going to implement in this tutorial is to get the device location. Here I just called a method get location details from our initState, and let's print here whether we are getting any location or not. Let me write print and device location. First I will print latitude, then followed by longitude. So with the help of location data variable, we can get the latitude and longitude. And just add a null check before to this one, and similarly copy and paste after the longitude text and change this to longitude. If I save it, we should be able to get this data. If I look for this text on my console, we should be able to see. Just reload the app, and this method will be executed again, because initState always gets called only once when the page is loaded. Now you can see our app is restarted, and we got the device location in the form of latitude and longitude. These are the values that with the help of which we can depict a particular area of a map or particular portion of a map. Let's see how we can depict that one with the help of another package called Flutter map marker cluster. Let's come to this pub.dev site again, and search for this package, and here the first one, open that one and come to this version section and look for your minimum .stk version. I am going to add this one because I have already checked with my .stk version and I am going to add it here. And if I, before saving, let's come back to the readme section and see this package actually depends on another package called Flutter map. Why it depends, I will show you while coding. Let me come to my VS Code and add this Flutter map into our prospect.yml file again and save it. Let's go to the documentation again and see what we can use from this package. This is the Flutter map marker cluster, and from this we can see there is a Flutter map and it has some options and children, tile layer and marker cluster layer widget. These are the things which can help us to depict a particular area through the latitude and longitude. I am going to copy the whole thing from here and going to use it in my main.dart file. In our main.dart file we have a list view, right? Inside a container we have a feature builder and we have a list view. So what I am going to do, we have a list view below in this container and we are displaying all the installed app. What I am going to do here, I will wrap this feature builder with a widget called column, and at the first position I will keep our Flutter map. I will just create a container and inside this container as a child I will add our newly added or newly copied code. Here you can see we need to import all the dependent files, just import all the dependent files, and here latitude and longitude class is missing. So let's add that too into our prospect.yml file. Now the file is added and let's come to this main.dart file and import latitude and longitude file, and we are getting some error, right? As of now I will just comment out so that our code can work fine. Here we need to import this one also. Here also we are getting some error, it says undefined name markers. So these markers will receive a type of data which is nothing but list of markers, and if I just go and remove this marker and replace it with empty array, now our map section is done. Let's save it and check whether this app is running smoothly or whether we are getting some error. You can see we got some error right here. This is happening due to some UI related issues. I am going to wrap our list view with a widget called expanded, so this list can adjust itself whenever the list of apps gets increased, and also add some height to the map section so that we will not have any problem. I am going to add a height of something, size of height of 0.5 and save it. Now you can see we are getting a map and a list of apps below to that one, but we want this whole section to be scrollable. So let's wrap this widget, column widget, again with the single child scroll view. And save it. Okay, after saving I am still getting some error, and remove this container from, I need to remove this container from there because I don't need that container on the top of single child scroll view. Let me just cut this single child scroll view and remove this container and save it. I guess still we are getting some error. So I think this expanded widget will not work inside a single child scroll view. So there is another class called constant box. Constraint box. Constant box is there and it receives a property called constants, and the box constants is a class with the help of which we can give some height. A height, initially it will have this much height, but whenever your size of data grows it will occupy more height. So I am going to give the minimum height of 0.5 and save it. See, we got this map, and below to that it is saying we do not have any apps installed, but we will get that apps once I reload the whole app again. I reloaded the app, but still we are not able to get the list of installed apps. Just wait for a few seconds, it will appear. Now you can see we got all the installed app as well. If I scroll all the list, our map is also getting scrolled to the top, and similarly we are also getting all the apps scrolled from top to bottom or bottom to top. Now we have got the map, and inside this map we are going to change few things so that we can get the location of the particular longitude and latitude. Let's come to this one, main.dart file, and here this center, in this center we will uncomment this one and remove all the things inside the data, and it actually receives two property, one is latitude and another is longitude. If you mouse hover on this lat long class, you can see first one is latitude and the second one is longitude. So we have already location data with the help of which we can get the latitude, and also with the help of that we can also get the longitude. I am going to add a null check at the end of this one, similarly add at the end of the longitude and here also, and save it and check whether we are going to get the location map on this or not. Still we are not getting anything, right? Because in this markers we haven't shown anything. Markers receives a list of marker class, and marker has some property that we need to pass. Marker and this point and builder. This is builder is nothing but the kind of widget that we want to show on this map. So what I am going to do, I will return a container of child, and this child will have a icon, and this icon, inside this icon I will just print location icon. Pin location, okay, this one location on, and let's add comma after the container, and the color of the location icon will be something like anything you can add, but I am going to add deep purple right now. And this point is nothing but latitude and longitude. Let's copy this from the above section, this one, and paste it here and save it. Remove one extra comma and save it. Now nothing is visible, right? I am going to give a height of like 80 and width of 80 to this icon so that it can be visible on our map. Let me reload it once again. So after reloading the app, you can see we are actually getting the location pin on our map. If I zoom in, you can see the map is getting zoomed in. Right now I am in Bhubaneswar, India. That's why the pin showing in Bhubaneswar, India. So what we can do, we can increase the zoom value so that whenever the app gets loaded, it will be zoomed and it will show you, or it will take you to the particular location of the device. Let me just, max zoom is 15 only, but we can remove this one. Let me see what we can do extra. Okay, so let's make this zoom to 40, 45 and see how it looks like. I guess we need to zoom it manually, but it's not a problem. You can see after zooming, it will take me to the particular location where I stay. Yes, it is the exact place where I am staying right now. I am not showing the location address because that you can do by yourself how to show the location address. So this is the way that we can show the last location of the particular users, and with the help of latitude and longitude you can depict a pin icon over your map. So now our first step is done to get the location and show on our map, and also you can click on this any app and see the screen time, and you can scroll top to bottom. Now we are able to get the location of the particular device, and we are able to show the particular device location on the map with the help of a pin or with the help of a icon. Section is that we will design our data model so that we can store those data into our Firebase storage or Firebase database. Let's come to this library folder and create one class called children.dart. Inside this children.dart file, I am going to create a class called children. You can name anything as per your requirement or as per your wish. Children name, age, and this children might have mobile number, user ID. This user ID we will keep at the top. This user ID will be nothing but the Firebase unique ID, and device token. With the help of this device token, we will send push notifications in the future implementation. After that, we can have apps or list of apps information. So I am going to keep this as of now and create a constructor of this children. This dot user ID, this dot name, this dot age, this dot mobile, this dot device token. Let's create another class which will be something will be app information. And it will have app name, app package name, screen time, and the last used time. And also I will keep a date. Okay, this much will be enough. Create a constructor. App name, this dot app package name, this dot screen time, also this dot last used time. I'm going to create a 2JSON so that we can store the data in the form of 2JSON in our Firebase. First one will be name. Just copy and paste this one 4 times or 3 times and replace with the other names. Okay, our 2JSON method is done. Now save it and come to this children part and create another variable of list of app information, because this child can have multiple apps and the multiple app has information related to the particular app. So app informations and add this app informations to the constructor as well. Save it. We need to create another class for parent. Parent.dart class parent, and it will also have a user ID, string dot name, string age, device token, and we'll add if there is anything required while implementing, but as of now I am just going to create a parent constructor. Device token and save it. Why I created this parent class and children class is that whenever a user signs in to our application through Google sign-in, we will add those information in the form of class or in the form of object, and will store those objects into our database. Come to this parent.dart file and add a 2JSON to this class also. Copy this, paste it 2 times, copy the whole, paste it 3 times and replace with the other properties. Now our 2JSON method is also done for parent class. So we somewhat design our data model so that we can store into our Firebase database. Now in this third section we are going to do Firebase setup, Firebase project setup, by doing which we will be able to store and retrieve the information from the Firebase database. Along with that we can store parents information, authentication information and the children's information, at what time they were seen last or what was their last location, device location, and what was the screen time of their apps they have been using on their device, and so on. And we are going to implement the search functionality based on the data that we have stored into our Firebase database. So let's go and do this Firebase setup. Let me take you to the Firebase console and do Firebase project setup. Come to this Firebase console and click on add project that you are going to name. I am just naming it like ParentalControl app. Then continue. As of now just disable this analytic option, we are not going to use this one, and click on create project. Once you click on this create project, it will take 2 to 3 minutes to create the project for you in the Firebase console. Once the project is created, we need to do more setup so that our app and this Firebase can have a communication among each other. Let's continue. After continuing, we will be landing to this page ParentalControl app, and you can see there are 5 options. One is for Apple, and next is for Android, and similarly other for web version, Unity, which is used for game development, and the Flutter. For this tutorial I will be going with this option Android. When I click Android, it will ask me to give the package name, and this package name we can get it from our from the build.gradle file. If you come to this build.gradle file, which is present over our main Android app folder, if I close this one, under Android folder there is a app folder. Under this app folder there will be a build.gradle file. Copy this application ID and paste it into this package name section, and just give a name to this app nickname. I am going to give a parental control app, parental control, and click on register app. After clicking on register app, it will ask us to download a Google service.json file in the next step, and here it is. We need to download this file and keep that downloaded file into this app folder, which you just saw. Under this Android folder we have a app folder. Under this app folder we need to keep that JSON file. Let's go to this JSON file location and copy that one, or drag to our location. Here I had already downloaded 9 times, so the next downloaded file name becomes 10. So let me just drag and drop into my VS Code, and it has to be dropped under the app folder, and rename it. Just remove this bracket and the number and save it. Now the Google service.json file is kept under our app folder. Next step is to click on next, and here this is the tricky part. You might be facing problem here in our build.gradle file. These are the things that we need to kept under our build.gradle file. One is project level build.gradle file, and another is app level build.gradle file. Let's switch to Groovy or build.gradle. This is for Kotlin version and this is for other versions. So there you can see there is a plugins ID that we need to add into our project level build.gradle file. Let me go to the project level build.gradle file here, and here I have already added that one so that I can save some time. If you come down, we need to add another plugin to our app level build.gradle file, which is nothing but Google services plugin. I have already added that into my build.gradle file. Here you can see, if I scroll up, this is the ID that I have added. And one thing you need to remember is that whenever you want to add any kind of plugins, you need to add in this fashion. And also in the project level build.gradle file, we need to add, it should have the class path, not as it is given in this document. I don't understand why they have not given the updated document in this Firebase documentation, because it sometimes gives the error for Flutter. That's why this is the recommended way you need to add any kind of dependencies into your build.gradle file. Now this build.gradle file setup is done. Let's click continue here, next, and click continue to the console. Here if you come to this build option, there are so many options. Again we can say Firebase database, Firestore database, real-time database, storage, hosting, and there are many more options available in the Firebase cloud services. We are going to use this authentication part and the Firestore database. So let's come back to our VS Code and see what we are going to do to save and retrieve the data from our Firebase database. So our app is running on the emulator. Let's create, I have already created few models like children and app information and also the parent one. Let's try to save some information into our Firebase database once we click any of the app like YouTube or Google, so that we can know our communication between our app and the Firebase is getting established. So let me come to this main.dart file and come to the list view, where we are clicking on any of the app and redirecting to the app usage details page. This is the section where we are clicking and redirecting to the app usage details page. Like this, we are coming here, right? Once we click, I want the app information to be stored into our database. Let's go and add two more dependencies. One is Firebase core and Firestore in order to do the Firebase related operations. Come to this pub.dev and look for Firestore or Firebase core. First get the Firebase core, go to Firebase core and go to the installation section and copy this one. 2.21 might be the latest version. Okay, 2.18 is the minimum Dart SDK which I also have on my system, so nothing to worry. Just copy this Firebase core package and add it to our popspec.yml file. Below to this let long to add this one. Similarly, I will copy another dependency which is nothing but Firestore. Cloud Firestore is another package. With the help of this Cloud Firestore, we actually do CRUD operations with the Firebase database. Let's come to this one and add below to this Firestore Firebase core and save it. Once this command runs successfully, we need to do few more things in our main.dart file in order to initialize this Firebase database. Let's come to the main.dart file and go to the top of this file or reach to this method, main method, and here we are going to initialize the Firebase so that we can do any kind of Firebase related operations in our app. Let this command to finish. Now our package dependencies are added to our project. Let's initialize the Firebase in order to work for our project. Firebase, it has to be await and Firebase. Let's import the package file, import the Firebase core, then it will have another method called initialize app. Just do this, and before do this line we need to call widget bindings of this Flutter binding and call the method answer initialized. This is very much important to make sure this is going to be initialized at the time of application loading. So let's save it. Now we have successfully done the Firebase project setup and also we have initialized the Firebase in our main.dart file. What we are going to do in the next step is that we will try to save a simple information into our Firebase database and we'll check whether it's working correctly or it's working fine or not. To save some information into the Firebase, what I'm going to do, we have a list of apps installed on our device is being displayed on our app, ParentalControl app. So when I click on this app, I want to store some kind of data, maybe this app name and the screen time, not this screen time, only the app name when you click on this particular app. So we have a list view. On that list view we are returning a container and we have a gesture detector. If we come down, this is the place where we are actually redirecting to the next page. Next page is nothing but the particular page where we are actually showing screen time and the last use time. So I want to store something when I click this list items. So let me just call a Firebase Firestore instance to store the data into our Firebase database. Go to the Firebase database in our Firebase console and you can see there is no data, right? And I'm going to add that through the click operation of our list of items. Here I'm just going to call await, and Firebase Firestore is a class which gives us an instance of that Firebase database, and with the help of that instance we can call many methods like collection is there, collection group. For this tutorial we are going to use collections and I am going to name this collection as a users. We are going to store the user information, either be it a parent or a child. Those all are going to be considered as a users. So I'm just going to add some data as of now. So just call this add method, and this data has to be stored in the form of JSON. For testing purpose, I am going to store only the name, app name that we are going to click, and this app name we can get from this apps of index, which is nothing but a application class object, and just call that, and through this application object reference we can get the app name. Here it is, the app name. Let's save it and try to click any app, and let's see whether we are able to store the data into our Firestore database or not, or Firebase database or not. So let me clear the console again and click on YouTube. We have successfully redirected to the YouTube page or YouTube details page, but let's see whether data is added or not. Come to this rules and switch the tab, and we should be able to see a users collection. Yes, so finally our app name YouTube is being stored on our Firebase database because we just click on this YouTube name. If I click on this Google, we should be able to see another record under this users collection. Let's see. Okay, we got another name, app name, and the first one was YouTube. So it means that our Firebase connection with our app is successfully done. Now we are able to store the data into our Firebase database. As you can see here, we have stored the app name only, both Google and YouTube. So the next step, what I am going to and the sign in page will have two fields. One is email and password. They can sign in with their email and password ID. And the second, for the children, it will have three fields. One is user email and password, along with the another field where they have to enter their parents unique ID, and the parents unique ID we are going to store, or how we are going to generate that I will show you. Let's create two pages, one for sign in options, and there we will have two buttons, one for sign in with parent and another for sign in with children, and we will create separate pages for both of those options. Let me close all these pages and come to this library section, and come to this library folder and create one page called sign in page, sign in options dot dat, and another one parent sign in dot dat. Similarly, children sign in dot dat. Similarly, children sign in dot dat. I am going to this sign in option and will create a stateful widget, and this will be sign in option, and here we are going to have a scaffold, and we will not have any app bar here because we will only just show two options, one for sign in with parent and another for sign in with child. So I am going to have directly body and wrap this body with a container and keep a children of or child of column inside this container, children, and I am going to have two container, one for parent option and another for child option, and between these two we can have a gap. I'll add that later. First let me just add a text button, and this text button will have a on pressed and a child of value, login as parent. Save it, and similarly just add a style to this one, and you can add this style for this text button with the help of text button dot style from. Here we have a border radius or background color. I'll change this background color to colors dot maybe blue. Let's keep this as a blue, and we can have the corner, we can have the border radius or the corner of the buttons to be circular or somewhat curved, and that can be done with the rounded rectangle border. And this rounded rectangle border has a property called border radius. Add the border radius dot circular of 25, and here we have a text. Add constant to this text and save it. Here this container showing a blue line, just add a constant, just add a decoration, and add the normal box decoration so that the blue line will go away. And I am going to make this main axis alignment of this column widget to center, and I will also wrap this column with the center widget, so that whatever the widgets are available inside this column will be centered to this parent container. Let me copy this whole container and paste below to this third container, login as child. Okay, so we are going to change this child background color to yellow and save it. If you save it, nothing will happen. We have to go to this main.dart file and assign this sign in option page to our main.dart file. Here I am going to assign this sign in option page to our this page. And import the page here. Also add constant to the sign in option page and save it. You can see we are getting two options. One is sign in parent and login as child. Okay, the colors are not looking that much good. Here we have a blue color, and the text color should be to a white color. Colors.white and save it. Okay, now the color looks good. I want to increase the width of this button. And let's add that width with the help of media query. .5. Similarly, add this width to this children button, login as child. Also, we will change this child text color to white as well. Okay, this white is not looking that much good. Let's make it red color. Somewhat okay. I think it should be red color. And and also increase some font size to 18 and save it. Now it's looking good. Here also we'll increase the font size to 18. Okay, let's give some space between these two, and here there is a container. I'm going to replace that container with sized box and give a height. That height will be 0.15 and save it and see. Okay, it is too much. I'm going to make it 1. Okay, this will be fine, but you can play around with this design part later so that you can make this app beautiful as per the design perspective. I'm going to leave this now, and inside this size box I will have a text, and that text should be or, means we are saying that either you should log in as a parent or log in as a child. I should be having this in the center, but let me add this, let me wrap this text with the center and save it. Okay, we got this as a center. I'll add constant to the center widget instead of text. Now we got two options, one is login as parent and login as child. I'm going to create two fields inside this parent sign in page. Once we click this login as parent, we will be redirected to this parent sign in. So this parent sign in will be a stateful widget. Let's create this parent sign in page, and also have a scaffold and app bar title, parent sign in, and in the body I'll have a column children, and children will have two container, one for text field of user email ID or another for our password that we are going to add in some time. So we got this parent sign in page. Let's come to this sign in options and add a click option or click operation to our login as parent button, and here we can navigate to our parent sign in. Once we click this parent sign in option, push material page route, it will give us a context. We need to return our main page or the parent sign in page or whatever page you want to return while calling this navigation. I am going to return parent sign in page once we click this login as parent option, and save this and click on this one, login as parent. So we are redirected to this parent sign in page. Inside this parent sign in page we will create two container, and we have already created two container, but we are going to create two text field. One is for email and another is for our password. So text field, and this text field will be a child of this container, and here I am going to have a decoration, and this input decoration will help us to show some data like hint text will be, this will be direct a value, will be enter email, and here also I can have a border, input border to none, and here we will add a controller. So for controller we will have to create two text editing controller at this top, text editing controller email, controller, copy and paste for another controller, that will be password controller, and override a dispose method. Override a dispose method where we are going to release the resources used by this editing controller objects, because it is a good practice to remove the resources, and those resources can be removed or released by the help of dispose method of the controller. So you need to dispose these things. Let's copy this email controller, come to this text field and add email controller. Here we have a input decoration. We can also add a border radius, not to this one, we can add the border radius to our container, so that we can have a rounded text field, circular of 25, Let's save and see the output. You can see we have a enter email text field, but it is not looking properly. The main axis alignment to center. Okay, also add a width to this container. I'm going to copy this one from the sign in option and paste it here. Now enter email is there, but the border is not looking or not visible. Let's add a border color. Width will be 1 and color will be colors dot gray with shade 100 and save it. I can see, but I think it is not visible to you, so remove this shade and just apply gray color. I hope it is visible now, and you can see enter email is written, but it is extremely to the left. Let's add some padding to this text field so that it will have some space around it and it will look good. Okay, and let's change this border radius to 15 instead of 25. Okay, it is quite good. And also I'm going to increase the width to 85 or maybe 75. Now it's fine. So let's copy the whole thing. Let me first add a constant to this input decoration and copy the whole container and paste in the second container or replace with the second container. We are going to change the value also password, and inside the text field we have a property called obscure text. If you make this obscure text true, the password will not be visible while entering. And I am going to change this controller as well, password controller. So, and below to this container, this password controller, I am going to have a button, and with the help of button click we will sign in the user whatever the email and password is entered. So let me go to this sign in option and copy this button. Along with this button I am going to copy this size box as well, because we will show the size box below to this one. So save it once and add the next button here. I added the next button. You can see we got login as button, but it has to be sign in, and the background color should be green, and the text color should be white. Now sign in is there, but we should remove this or option. We don't need that one actually. And there is also a also add some gap between these two text field. I am going to add a size box and decrease the size or height to 0.2 and save it. Now the decoration is done. Inside this login as parent we have email field and password field. By entering email and password they can sign into our application, but before signing we need to sign up the user. So what we will do, we will also add another option here. If the user is not signed in or not signed up, they can sign up through that button. So let me add that sign up option like we have in this sign in option. Let me just copy that one and paste it below to this our sign in option, and here I am going to say sign up, and the color will be blue in color. And here I'll say, let's save it and see how it looks. Sign up, and the text color, let's change it to white. It says sign in or sign up. So how can we say to the user that whether they need to sign in or sign up? So when they click on this sign in by providing user and email password, we will check and will show whether the user exists or not. If the user doesn't exist, then we will inform by some kind of notification or some kind of messages by displaying here, and will let the user know that you need to sign up before signing in. So I'm going to do the sign up process first, then we'll see how we can notify the user. And to sign up to the Firebase, we have a class called Firebase auth, which we just added into our popspec.yml file, the dependency Firebase auth. With the help of that one, we can check whether the user exists into our Firebase uh, authentication or not. Before that, let's add an option that is very much important in order to do the authentication. Come to this authentication part and go to the sign in method. Out of this all, we can choose any one and do our sign in operations or authentication operations. But for this tutorial, we will go with the email and password. Just enable it and save it. Come back to our VS Code. Here we will check whether our email controller has any value or not. Is not empty. When these two fields are not empty, then only we will proceed for sign in and sign up. Now let's check for this password also is not empty, and we have a method inside this Firebase auth. We can access that with the help of Firebase auth instance dot sign in with email and password. Here we can provide our password and email and check whether this user exists or not. Let me just copy and replace with the email properties, similarly for password properties, and save it. Before saving, let's check what value we are getting from this method or as a return. So this method will return a user credential type of value. So let's store the return value in a variable called credential and check whether this credential has some value or not. After signing in with email and password, this credential variable should have some value. Then only we can know this user exists or not. If it doesn't have any value, then we will show a notification. I'm going to check whether this credential is not null and print some value. It says not null, this credential can never be null. So what I'm going to do, there what are the values available in this credential, we will see. This cred user is there, credential is there, and additional user information is there. I'm going to check whether this credential variable has a user or not. If this credential does not have any user or any kind of email and password available in the authentication tab, then we can say the provided credential does not exist in our database or this user is not signed up yet. Go and sign up. For that, let me just print that one what we are getting here. If I come to this one, sorry, user credential, I'm just typing user credential inside this condition. If this is not null, then it will come to this line. Let me save it. Before that, I'll also print the user credential dot user value on the top, just to check whether we are going to get any value inside this user or not. Let me save. Go to my parent sign in option. I'm going to type like limatech@gmail.com and password will be limatech@123, and this email shouldn't be the same email account that you are using in your real-time device. This can be any kind of email that we can use to sign in into our email and password authentication procedure or process. Let me just sign in, and you can see we got some kind of invalid login credential and there is no message printed. Logged in as limatech.com with empty reCAPTCHA token. So it means that we do not have this user in our database. It says invalid login credential. So let's wrap this one with the try catch block. If we get any kind of error, we'll print it here. Just print and see what we are going to get. Click again. It says invalid login credential. An internal error has occurred, invalid login credential. So it means it is returning something that is saying that invalid login credential. If I see additional user info credential, or what we are going to get if we try to print additional user information. Let's see. Click on sign in. It also prints the same error, invalid login credential. Do we have any kind of code that can say that we are getting invalid credential? Go to the credential and check access token or provider ID or anything. So I'm going to check this provider ID is available or not, and save it. Okay, now it is clear that this value is not getting printed, right? It means this user is null. At this time, what we can do in the else case, we can show a message. That message can be displayed in the form of snack bar or in the form of any kind of dialog box. What I can do, if the credential.user is null, then we will show a message here with hard-coded message by applying boolean value saying that user does not exist, please sign up, then come back to sign in. So to display a message before to this container email password, I will have a container and a text inside to this, and will add a value user credential does not match, please sign up. It means that user will understand that he hasn't signed up to our application, and that can be done in different way. Either you can use a snack bar or you can use a something like dialog box, but I'm going to use a boolean value right now, is sign up. Okay, and I will change this value to true and false based upon the result we are going to get. This container will only be displayed if this value is true, or if this sign up value is false. I'm going to make it true here and come back here. If this value is false, then only we are going to show this to the user or to the parent user or any kind of user. Now copy this one and come to this else section and call this set state method, and here you need to call or set this value, and whatever the value is available in each sign up, we will reverse that one and we will store that value into each sign up once the user credential is null. This sign in, let's save it and click the sign in button once again. Okay, we don't see anything now. In this sketch block also I am going to add this one, because when you get error, our error comes to this sketch block, and we will set up this is sign it to false or true, then only you can show that message. I just clicked it and you can see user credential does not match, please sign up. So let me just add a margin to this container, and also I'll change the color to red. Save it. Now we are able to see we got a message, user credential does not match, please sign up. So what I'm going to do, instead of redirecting the user to another page, I will allow the user to sign up from here only. For this app we can do this way, but for real-time application, what you need to do, you redirect that user to a separate page and ask the user to provide this credential and allow them to sign up from that page and come back to this page and ask them to sign in through the credential they provided during sign up. But for this tutorial I am going to allow the user to sign up from here only. So I am going to copy the whole thing from here with try catch block, and I'll go to the sign up button on press section and will paste it. Here I just need to add the async one. In our Firebase auth instance, instead of sign in with email password, we also have a create user with email and password. What it will do, it will take this email and password and it will create a user in our database. When the user clicks the sign up button, we will receive some value in this variable credential. If this credential has some user value, it means we are successfully signed up. If it doesn't sign up properly, then we will get is sign up false. We no need to show it here because we are going to sign up here. So if this credential dot user has some value, we will clear this field values and again we will ask the user to provide the same credential to sign in. Let me just clear that value, email controller dot text, and assign some blank value to that. Similarly for password, and save it. Let me reload this application once again so that we can actually see what's happening. I'm going to the Firebase console. See, we do not have any users in our users tab. Let's come to this login as parent and enter the email. I'm going to enter limatech@gmail.com and password limatech@123. Once I click sign in, I will be able to see a message here. It says user credential does not match, please sign up. Here you can see in the console we got invalid login credential. I am clearing the console again and I am going to click the sign up with the same details, sign up. Now we got the null check operator used on a null value, but where we got this null check operator used on null value, it has to be the place where we got the null check user on the null value. Let me come to this one and refresh this one. We must have get one email ID added into our users. You can see we got one user email ID added, limatech@gmail.com. Here this credential is not present in this credential object. We need to remove, or we'll remove this one from sign up button process, and here let's save it, come back to our emulator and now click sign in. We just sign up using the same credential and I'm going to sign in with the same credential. Okay, let's change some value. I'm going to add extra 3 at the end and click sign in. It says invalid login credential. I'm going to remove that extra 3 and I'm going to remove the extra 3 and click sign in. Now it says null check operator used on a null value. Similarly we have this one here, this needs to be removed from there and save it and save it and try to click sign in. We should be able to see this message in the console. Let me clear the console, and you see user credential is there. It means we are successfully signed into our application. So we are able to now do sign in and sign up in the same page. When user try to sign up, we will try to save the details of the user, like whatever the users, like username or user credentials. We will create a user with a username, and that user details will be stored into our Firebase database. So I'm going to just delete this one and come back to our sign up method. Here we are doing sign up. During the sign up process, we will check whether this credential.user has some value or not. If it is having some value, we will store that value into our Firebase database. And come to this one. Here I'm going to print this value, like credential dot user, this one, and see what value it is actually going to print. Clear the console and sign up. You can see it is printing like display name is blank, email and is anonymous, false, phone number null, and there are so many options, like creation time is there. But what I'm interested in, that this is the UI ID, this is printing. This ID, this UID will be unique for each users that they are going to sign up into our application. So with the help of this UID, we are going to store a value into our database, this UID and Limatech, I mean whatever the user enters the value, and along with the password. So we don't need to store the password, but these two information as of now will store. And here we created a class called parent. Here we have user ID, name, age, device token. So we will just try to save the minimum details now, and the rest of details we will store later. So let's see here. After clearing this email controller and password controller, I will call a Firebase Firestore class, and we'll get the instance, and we'll also call a collection. I'm thinking of creating two collections, one for parents and another for children's, and we'll link the children with the parent. Let's see, let's rename this to parents, and inside this parent we are going to pass the parent class JSON. And parent can also have the list of applications information. So let's come to this children, and here we have a list of app information, because parent can also see the app usage time. So I'm going to parent class and add the same thing, import the app information and add it to the constructor. Here also it means this parent can also have their own app information. In this app information, we are going to store the usage time, package name and other related information. Also I'm going to add the coordinates, string, latitude and longitude. With the help of this latitude and longitude, we will depict or will display the location of this parent also. And also we are going to add into this to JSON, copy these two properties and rename those as per latitude and longitude. Now the parent data model is modified, and save it. Come to this parent signin dot file, and here we need to pass this parent class object in the form of 2JSON. Before that, we will have to create this object there. I am going to create a object here, parent and parent. Here inside this user ID, we are going to pass this user ID UID, and this UID is available in our user object here. Let's copy this one and pass and access the UID like this, and also add a null check operator. We will have name as blank, age also blank, device token will add later, latitude also will add later, also the longitude and this app information, and go to this parent, copy that and pass as JSON format. Once the user tries to sign up, or once the parent tries to sign up through our sign up button, it will create a user in our Firebase authentication tab, and also add a document to our parents collection. Let's save, go to our authentication tab and refresh whether we have any data or not. Let me delete this data and come to our app, clear the console, and I am going to say Lima Tech Flutter gmail.com, Lima Tech Flutter, or I am going to remove everything, Flutter at the Flutter at the rate 123. I am going to click sign up. Now the user is signed up, and it should have added one record to our authentication tab as well as to our Firebase database or Firebase database here. Let me just refresh here in the users. You can see one record is added, and the email ID is limatechflutter@gmail.com. Come to this Firebase database and see whether any collection is added or not. Yes, you can see one parent's data is added here, and it says app information has nothing, latitude longitude is nothing, user ID is same as here, it will be printed. If I go here, this one GYVLF, and the 2K2 is at the end. Same UID is added here. This users collection was added previously when we were trying to add, or when we were trying to communicate with our Firestone database. So the parents are able to sign in. Now next is, when the parents sign in successfully, we should be able to take that user to a separate page. In our main.dat file, we have a my home page, and in that my home page we used to get the location details and get all the installed apps also we used to call. Through that methods, we were showing the list of installed apps along with the map. I am going to cut that class, and I will keep that class in a separate file, and the file name will be my home page. Just cut this one and come here and create a separate file called my home page .dat and paste it here. And we need to import the material state library or the package and other dependent files also. Here we can see we need to add a map and the latitude longitude related files. Also we need to add that Flutter map marker and other things, device apps. Now this my home page is ready. Just save it and copy, and also save this main.dart file. I'm going to redirect to this my home page once this user sign in through once the user sign in by providing the email and password. Come to this parent sign in and go to this sign in option. Here inside this credential.user is not equal to null, will redirect to that page. Navigator of context dot push okay. I think we no need to do this way, because in our main.dart file we can implement a different way. Instead of having this sign in option directly, we can use stream builder. What I'm going to do, stream builder, with the help of stream builder, let me just add it and I will explain you. What I'm going to do, I will check whether this user is signed in or not. If the user is signed in, we can get a auth state changes, means authentication is done or not. Based upon that, we will redirect to this sign up page. If the user is signed in, then we will redirect to the home page. So this stream builder, we can use Firebase auth, and with the help of Firebase auth we can get the instance and we can check auth state changes. This auth will give us a data, and this data, whether if this user is already logged in, this user snapshot.hash data will be true, otherwise it will be blank or it will be null. So if it is true, we are going to return to our home page. Let me just do a import, and if it is okay, it says title is required. Title I'm going to give it as it will be screen recorder, screen control. Leave it like this, we will change that value. And if this snapshot has any data, then we will return to my home page. If this snapshot doesn't have any data, we will return to sign in option. Sign in option means this page where user can click any of this and do sign in. So let me add this sign in option page, sign in option. Just add const to this one, also add const to this home page. Now save it. We should be able to redirect to the screen control page or the home page, which is nothing but the user is already signed in, because we created a user with the email and password. As the user was already signed in, so this auth state returned a value, and as this value returned, we redirected to the my home page. Here I can show you we haven't written any redirection code, still our page is redirected to screen controller. Let's add a logout button on the top of the screen controller or app bar. Here go to the app bar. App bar has a property called actions. Go to the actions, and I'm going to add a icon button, and give a icon of sign out or logout, and it has to be, the color has to be in white because the background color is in red. And inside this on pressed, call Firebase auth, make this as async, Firebase auth instance dot sign out. It means it will clear the auth state change which we have in our main.dart file. After this auth state changes, this snapshot.hash data will not have any value. It means it will have false value. So it will redirect to our sign in option. I'm going to save this one. Now you can see there is a logout button. Let's click on it, and you saw right, it signed out. So this main.dart auth state, it changed and it redirected to sign in option. If I go to this login as parent and login with the email we just created, limatechflutter@gmail.com, and the password was flutter@123. If I sign in, or if I click on this sign in button, we should be redirected to the home page. It says the user credential is not matching. Let's come to this authentication and check the user limatechflutter@gmail, and I think limatechflutter@gmail, the password must be wrong. FLUTTR@123. Okay, the password must be wrong. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create another user, only limatech, and the password will be limatech@123, and click sign up, and again enter this limatech@gmail.com and password 123 and sign in. Okay, it is getting some problem. What you can do, once we get this user credential message, we'll redirect to the home page, or we'll redirect to the main.dart file. Navigator of context and push, and with the help of material page route we can navigate to our next page. Return my home page, and we also need to pass the title, and it will be screen time up, or it was like screen controller up, and save it. Now I'm going to click to sign in, and it redirected to our home page. When the home page is redirected, or whenever you are redirecting to any other page with the help of push method, you will see this button by default. So in order to hide this button, we need to add a property inside this app bar, and that property is leading widget, and the property is leading, and inside this property you can pass a empty container, so that this button will not be visible, because this button is not required at this position. Okay, now the parent got signed in, and they are inside this main page or home page.